Hello people of Earth, I'm Kimani Hall and welcome to my channel Hauling This Together. For today's video I'll be showing you guys how I made these hibiscus flowers, frangipani or frangipani, whatever you want to pronounce it as, and also these Monstera leaves, which were all used on this tropical themed birthday cake right here. And if you also want to see how I made this flamingo and pineapple, which was also used on the cake, then check out the video that is linked in the top right hand corner. Now let's get into the video. Okay, so I'm starting off with the hibiscus flowers, and I did a pink and I did a orangish color. So here I just rolled up my fondant, which technically is gum paste because I added some talus powder, which you can still see in frame. I just used a normal metal petal cutter and I just cut out 5 of those petals, and then I used a little water on the end of my floral wire and I just inserted that. I inserted it with a loop at the end so that it wouldn't like easily drag out. And now I'm just using my balling tool to thin the edges and add some, details using my drizzling tool. Since I don't have a mold for this, like what's that called, a textured mold, so I'm just using my drizzling tool to add some like veins and stuff, and I'm using a smaller balling tool to add some like ruffles to the end. Now this is like a cutout from an apple tray, so I just use those whenever I'm making flowers to allow them to set. So just kind of bend the wire so that it's not like poking up through the top of the petal, and I just put that over my dome shaped whatever you want to use. You can use spoons, anything that you have handy. I do this a lot, and so I got those apple tree cutouts, so repeating the process, and I did that for all the 5. You can see the difference in the size from what I started with and after I thinned it out and stuff. So now I'm starting with that stamen area, the middle part of the flower. So I just rolled a log, thinned the middle I'm using a lollipop stick. You can use a skewer or a toothpick, whatever you have handy. I'm just rolling that on there, making sure that the top part is thicker than the bottom, and I'm leaving the bottom end there empty so that I can tape it on properly and have that part to insert into my cake. Now I'm using a small scissors to just like cut some, I don't know what to call it. I guess those are the stamen. You can just watch what I'm doing, but I just cut it and I'm using a tool to just like separate it so that it looks more organic. So now I'm going to use some unflavored gelatin, which has like a creamish, yellowish, almost white color. So I'm going to add some edible powder dust thing to mix that and get an orange tone. And I'm using some edible glue, and I'm going to just dab it on the ends of those spiky things on the stamen. I hope I'm calling these by the right names, and I'm just going to allow that glue to grab some of that powder to create that stamen looking part of the flower. You guys know what I mean. Even if I'm not using the right terms, you know what I mean. I should probably research to make sure that I remember the parts of a flower. Anyway, so I'm just repeating the process. As I said, I did a yellowish orangish color one and I did a pink one, so I'm just repeating that process. This is me showing you what I did. I don't know why the clip looks so edgy, but same process. Now I added all my different parts of the flower to my dehydrator so that it would dry faster and firm. You can just leave it out to dry naturally, and now I'm dusting on some of that edible petal dust to give it some different shades. It wasn't really giving me, like, I don't know if it's the petal dust or the brushes that I'm using, but I realized that anytime I use it on the brush, it doesn't really give me that deep set in, but if I use my finger or like a sponge or something else, then it works. So as you can see, I'm adding some like dark orange colors. Those are different, so without the shades and then after the shades, it really does bring it to life. So I added some orange to the yellowish color flowers, and I added some like burgundy and red and pinks to the pink ones, so that you would actually have like some depth. And closer to the end of the petal is where I added this, so that it would be kind of like an ombre of like, yeah, an ombre kind of effect. Now I'm adding some fondant to the end of that stem centerpiece, and that's just to kind of help to hold my petals in place when I put them on. And I'm just bending the petals and literally placing them on using some floral tape. Remember that when you stretch it, that's when you release that stickiness. So I'm just taping those together. I'm doing a few at a time so that it doesn't swing around, and so that I can make sure that I have layers and make sure it's stable. So I did 3 at first together, then I added the second one, added the fourth one and taped it, and then I added the final one and taped it. And then because it's on the wire and it's dried, you can easily manipulate and twist and turn and bend the way you want for you to get it how however pleasing it is to you. And yeah, I'm just going to ensure that that middle piece is kind of like that big gap is not really there anymore. So I'm just adding some fondant and kind of pressing it in. I'm going to add some dust on top of that as well to kind of help to blend it in, as you can see right here. So everything is seamless. Well, not seamless, but and believe it or not, that's literally it. That's the end of the hibiscus flowers. So these are they. And now on to the frangipani. I don't know which pronunciation you guys use. I typically say frangipani. So I just used a 5-leaf flower cutter and cut out some white fondant, and I'm just thinning the edges a bit. This one is so simple, and I rolled all the leaves on one side, as you can see, and then I just literally glued them on each other. That's it. Pretty simple, and you just repeat. For this one, I didn't use my apple tray thing. I actually use some cupcake liners. As I said, literally anything that gives it that cup curved shape, that's fine. That is it. And now I'm just adding some of those edible petal dust in the middle, just some yellow. That's literally it, and that's the end of that flower. And then for the Monstera leaves, I didn't have any Monstera leaf cut out, and so I have these heart-shaped leaves that I use for tulips, and I just cut those out. I kind of rolled it out a bit so that it would be a little bit more elongated, and I just add some slices at the side, rolled it out, stretched it out, add some veins. That's literally it, people. Like, have some fun with it, make the shapes a little bit different. I used a combination of the apple trays and foil to get like an organic shape. And then by now you know the drift. I just added them to my dehydrator. Now that they're dry, I'm just adding some petal dust. I'm using a combination of green, yellows and browns because I wanted to give it a little bit of a, you know, different look and give it some personality. And so I'm just brushing and stroke, like I'm using a combination of the brush and my fingers to just like wipe the different colors all over. And of course the grooves and dents and stuff are going to get a lot more color stuck into it, and so I just kind of played around with it. I didn't have much of a vision. I just kind of wanted it to, you know, not look so flat, and that I did. Okay, so that's the end of that. Actually, this is just me putting them on the cake. This is the cake that it was used for, and that pineapple and the flamingo that's on the cake was done in a previous tutorial. And so if you want to check that out, it will be linked at the end of this video, and it will also be in the iCard. So thank you guys for stopping by. I hope to see you next time. Until then, stay golden.